Alright, tripsters, I'm in Alexanderplatz in Berlin. Okay, this is the Furnisturm, which is, I hope I pronounced that correctly, I'm not very good at German, but the Furnisturm. I love German words like Furnisturm. Flughafen is my favourite German word. Flughafen, sounds amazing. And I'm here to tell you about the TV tower, which is the third tallest structure in the EU. It's 1,207 feet tall, and it was built between 1965 and 1969. Opened on the 3rd of October 1969 by the Russians. It's really a fantastic piece of architecture. I love Soviet architecture. I think it's really bold and stark, and it really thrills me. I used to see this on the news in the 80s when I was a kid, and I used to think, wow, that's amazing, because they'd use this as a focal point of the meeting point between East and West, and the tensions that went on in the Cold War. And you'd see this and you think, oh, I'd love to go there, but you knew you couldn't, and now I'm here. It's amazing. You know, I think it's a fantastic piece of engineering. We've got it's like star points. We've got each leg is stars, and it's really stark and Soviet and ambitious and modern. You know, I mean, the only thing is that when they built this, you know, this was a massive, literally a massive fuck you to the West. That's all it was basically. But they spent a lot of money building it, and whilst people in East Germany queuing up for bread and basic necessities, that's why there's a lot of dissatisfaction. It's culminated in the fall of the Berlin Wall years later in 1989. People just stormed the Berlin Wall basically, which I'll tell you about that, more about that in another video. But I love Soviet architecture. I think it's fantastic, and it really thrills me. And I'm here in Berlin at Alexanderplatz at the TV tower. I'm not going to go up it because it's too much messing about. I might go up it another time because I'm always coming to places like Berlin. But it's well worth a visit to come here and see Alexanderplatz and Berlin. I mean, a lot's changed since the Cold War and since World War II. I mean, the only building that's still here is the railway station, which is more or less an original building, which has obviously been built on over the years with that glass and steel, but the basic structure's still there. The rest of it was flattened, and for whatever reason, Erich Honecker built a massive building here, which was supposedly some kind of showcase of Soviets and communist prowess and whatnot, but it was sprayed with 5,000 tons of asbestos, which as you well know isn't very good really, so it was pulled down. And that's a good example of what the world of communism does. But you know, this stands here still, and I think it should. I went to photograph something at Bernstrasse the other day, which was a frieze of Lenin on a wall. It was a massive, like 6 foot tall or 8 foot tall frieze of Lenin. Someone's taken it off. You know, erasing history like that's wrong. I hope they're just taking it off to fix it, but I was really pissed off because it's just not acceptable. You know, history is history, but once these things have gone or taken out of context, there's no point anymore. So I hope this stands forever. It's a fantastic piece of engineering, and it really thrills me to be here, and I can only urge you to visit Berlin. It's a fantastic city, and you know, that's what it's all about, travelling, mate. Okay. Alright, tripsters, bye bye. Alright, tripsters, so I've got behind me the famous world time clock, which was again another Soviet monument, which was built here at Alexanderplatz. Basically tells every time in the world, as you can see behind. We've got the like revolving system of planets, which looks like atoms, which I think is fantastic. You know, I think I love anything like that. We're in the corner as well. We've got some murals on a building, which are like Soviet Union workers' murals, which I also think are amazing. It's only like 1 hour, it's easy walking distance from here. But that music you hear behind me is like, it's actually like the music for the irony of people in East Berlin not being able to actually go anywhere and just looking at the time in different countries. You know, it's perfect music. You know, but it sounds awful, doesn't it? Some kids playing violins, seriously. I mean, I don't want to be uncharitable, but oh my giddy aunt. But yeah, it's perfect music for staring at this clock in the 1980s or 70s and thinking, fuck me, I can't go anywhere. with gritted teeth. But yeah, there we go. But this is the World Time Clock Fixers. And it's alright, it's really Soviet again, really Russian, and it's still working after all these years. I hope they don't remove it, but there we go. Alright, tripsters, bye bye. Alright, tripsters, another fantastic building in Berlin with this mosaic of Soviet realism, which was designed by the artist Womacka. It's basically it's meant to show the benefits of life living in East Germany. It's that propaganda. It's very kitsch, very naive. As you can see behind me, in the middle, there's like the German soldier with the Russian person and the female, and everything's really idyllic. This mosaic goes all around this building, and it's a fantastic piece of artwork, and it's great. I love Soviet style artwork. It's really naive, it's really kitsch. I'm not going to show you all around the building because that's just ridiculous, but I'll show you some. Maybe I'll insert some stills and some video which I took earlier, later in this short movie. So yeah, this is at Mitte, which is very close to Alexanderplatz, just walking distance really. But I think it's a fantastic mural, and as I say, it goes all around the building. And again, it's something else I hope they never cover up or get rid of. Because it's part of history, you know, and I love it. Anyway, I'll include some stills of some movie, and as I say, this is a great thing to visit also if you're in Berlin. Alright, tripsters, bye bye. Alright, tripsters, I'm at the Brandenburg Gate, or in German, the Brandenburger Tor. This is where on the 12th of June 1987, Reagan stood here in this area and said, "Turn out this wall." On the 23rd of June 1963, JFK said, "Ich bin ein Berliner," in a speech to both East and West Germany. Obviously the East Germans couldn't listen, but it was a message. Basically it said that he's on our side, he's on their side, and that was the idea of American policy from the time of the start of the Cold War until the end, when the wall finally came down. They wanted that wall to come down, and quite rightly so. It's ridiculous to have a wall dividing people. In Korea today we have it, you know, and in a certain way Cyprus is also still divided, which is wrong because we're all the same. Anyway, I digress. So this basically was no man's land. It was a Russian area, and the road here follows where the actual wall went, and the road circumvented the wall in this area here, and basically this was the focal point of the division between East and West Berlin. When JFK did a speech here, the Russians put some hammer and sickle flags there so he couldn't see into East Berlin, but the message still got across. So all here was basically filled with floodlights and barbed wire and this, that and other. People didn't try and cross here because it would have been too sketchy. But I bet they probably did, but I mean, you'd have to research that. I'm just here to give you the basic facts, you know. But yeah, so prior to that, this was built in the 1700s, and this was the gate which joins the Unter Linden, which runs right down there and right up there. The whole sort of Adel on here that you can see behind me, that's where Goebbels had some offices. Goebbels was the propaganda minister of the Nazis, and in fact here, when this was a thoroughfare, there was a massive Nazi torchlight procession which came all through here. And then in May 1945, when the Russians advanced, they shot this place to bits. You can still see the repair marks on the building. It was shot to bits, and then was, as I say, was in no man's land right till 1990, as was all of this part of East Berlin. Potsdamer Platz is over there, and this is the focal point of the Berlin Wall and the division between East and West Germany itself. But no, everything's back together again, and it's fine and dandy. It's a tourist attraction. But you know, it just goes to show that walls don't last forever, and barriers between people mean nothing. You can build as many walls as you like, but you never stop people being together, and they will always come down in the end. Alright, tricksters, have a good one. See you later. Bye bye. Alright, tripsters, here I am at Checkpoint Charlie, and it was the famous American crossing point to the Russian sector during the Cold War, during the division of Berlin. The Berlin Wall went up in 1961. It went up literally overnight. People could move freely between east and west until that time, and then overnight people were trying to get to work and they couldn't. They eventually built a wall. It was basically to shore up the East Germany and and the wider Warsaw Pact Soviet bloc states, because it was all a failed idea, and people were going to hemorrhage over to the west because they wanted better things and they didn't want their lives being dictated and run by the state. So a lot of people died trying to cross, and a lot of people died here at Checkpoint Charlie. In the Potsdam Conference in 1945, Germany was divided up in a conference with Harry Truman, Churchill, Clement Attlee and Stalin. It was divided up into four. This is the American sector, and the Russians had this sector on the east. You can still see where the wall was today. Sometimes there's some cobbles or there's a little brass plaque. But it's whilst people are here today having a bit of a laugh and whatnot and taking photos, this is serious. There was a standoff here between Russian tanks and American tanks, I think in about 1963, which could have caused a world war, but it was diffused. It was some kind of diplomatic issue. But yeah, so here behind me now is the Russian side. There was all kinds of barriers and gates and checkpoints and this, that and the other. And really, you could only go from east to west if you got a visa. You had to change your money. Military people could do it. Diplomats could do it, of course. But it was difficult, And imagine, not being able to go to half of your own city or meet your family for years and years. That's shite, man. But it's all sorted now. Let's hope there's no more division. But yeah, it's alright here. I would recommend you come. There's a museum here, the Checkpoint Charlie Museum. It's quite interesting. It's a bit touristy, but hey ho, none of this is real. That sign behind me is not real. The real sign's in there in the museum. This checkpoint isn't real, but it was here. This is where the checkpoint was, and it just goes to show how divided this city was. Interesting times. But the wall came down in 1989. And it ceased to be an effective barrier then, because people simply just cross the barrier and said we're not having this anymore, and they just cross the barrier. Nothing could be done to stop them, and the wall became ineffective overnight. And clowns like Erich Honecker and people like that were running the East German side, that became discredited and faded into obscurity. Quite rightly so. Okay, tripsters, I hope you enjoyed these videos. Alright, bye.